Preparing and sending invoices. This is probably the part that all of you have wanted to get to since the beginning when you saw billing and invoicing. We want to get, and you want to understand how to send an invoice, right? You want to have an invoice template. You want to see exactly what we do at Tyson Media to send this. I had to do all that stuff before to help you understand how we get to these invoices. And we're going to go through how to actually send them now and prepare them. So by this time, you've obviously learned about how we get to these numbers and how we actually document everything. So going back to the different retainer types, we're going to show you an example of a fixed retainer, which is that, fixed amount. And then we've got the monthly budget retainer and how we basically invoice for those two sections. And like I said at the beginning, every client's different and you might change from fixed to monthly, from monthly to fixed, but here's some options to look at to actually how to do that. So these ones are more simple. These ones allow more creativity. Like I was telling you, is that you don't have to spend as much time. It's an agreed amount. It's agreed upon amount that you're going to bill them each month for this amount of work. And you don't have to get detailed with all that. They just know what's coming. You're going to get detailed in your business though, to make sure you're staying healthy. You're going to have the date range. You're gonna have the when the payment is due. So here's an example of what that looks like. But then I'm gonna show you an example of what we do and how we actually make that look. So very simple. I've used this look for a lot of years. And also one thing to note is there are softwares now, right? That you can actually, like QuickBooks. You can actually, and I use QuickBooks, but we also use PDFs. And there's some companies want just a PDF to submit to AP, accounts payable, and then they send us a check or a direct deposit. That's so much more effective for big companies. You're going to run into that when companies are big. They have accounts payable systems. They don't want a QuickBook link to pay with a bank account or a credit card. You're going to submit it. So you want to have options of PDFs, but then you want to have options to send companies that are just links. And a lot of times those are smaller companies that just want to pay with Venmo, or they want to pay with a credit card or a bank account. And they don't have AP in place. So this would be an example of a PDF, but also you could make this exact same format in QuickBooks or some kind of an invoicing software. All the same things are gonna apply. You're gonna give a unique number. It's gonna have a date. You're gonna talk about what it is full time. Output from Braden. He's one of our employees that manages for Nomadic. So he sends this to them every single month, and they pay it within 15 days. Never have I ever charged interest. But I put those things because there's been a lot of times with new clients that just don't pay fast and I have to stay on top of them, but I've never charged interest. It's just kind of something you have, but I do have that in my invoice and documents if it actually does come to that. But I'm the type of person that's going to take, that initial hit in the early days and just let it develop into something that's like gets to a point that it becomes understandable. And we expect prompt payments. And hopefully they get to that point. If they don't, then those aren't the clients you want to work with anyway. So just a quick example, very easy, very basic. So then here's the monthly budget, variable budget. So this is the one that's kind of, we stick to a number and we move between it. So we're going to itemize the list. We're going to talk about hours worked. We're going to talk about the rates. We're going to get a subtitle or subtotal. So here's what that looks like here. And then here's an example of what we actually do. So the difference is it's very similar, but we're very detailed, right? We've got every single thing that we edited, the hours that it took, the price that cost. You've got your rate here. And this is a unique situation where I'm actually invested in this company. So we charge cost. And so I'm actually not making money on this client, but it applies to everything. We actually charge $100 an hour, but this one I'm only charging $50 an hour, and that's paying for my costs. And my hope is that this company is actually going to be successful and my money will come in the long term. And that's something else you can think about when you're onboarding clients is if they don't have a budget, maybe you see a lot of potential in this business and you just want to be an investor and actually be a part owner and get equity in it. Equity is the whole beast that, man, I need to make an entire course on. It's not a fun thing to, I think, do. So back to this. Now we've got our shoots. We've got our skit design. They also design. Here's all the projects she designed. Here's all the hours, price, and then you've got your total. And these guys don't have AP, so I'll actually send them this detailed breakdown plus a payment link. So I'll send them two things, and it's just through text message, and then they pay me with a bank account. You can also make it a credit card, but then there's a 3% fee, and I don't want to pay it, and neither does the client, so I try to avoid that, especially for consistent clients. It might make sense for one-offs to just pay with a credit card and then move on. But yeah, this is just a template invoice for that and how we actually use it. I like to have the PDFs just because I have the option when they do get bigger to just have AP, and I just send this to them and they send me a direct deposit, but they want a link to pay with. So I'll just send them a payment link plus this. So it's a little bit old school, but it's also kind of what companies do as well. So this is just going into the formatting of it, and you can read through this to get, you can basically look at my invoice and get all this, but at the same time, this is just to help you understand the section. So header, client information, invoice number, dates, breakdown of services, products, total amount due, payment methods, and here's an example layout of what that looks like. Now we want to talk about sending the invoice and follow-ups, okay? So we want to make sure it's clear, it's concise, it's sent, and when you send an invoice, you don't want to just be like, hey, here's your invoice, let me know if you have questions or concerns. Those are those robotic emails that I can't stand, and you want to make them personal. It's part of the long-term deal, right? So in the last course, we talked about sending invoices and how we want to make everything we send personal. So talk about, hey, I hope you guys had a great weekend. Here's our invoice for this and this and this. Talk to you guys later. Looking forward to the next month of working with you guys. So it's very personal. It's about what is happening. It's kind of small talkish, right? It's what's happening. It's weather. It's we're talking about holidays, things like that. So I like to add those things, but here's an example of how to write that. Then there's the billing system. So if you use billing platforms like QuickBooks or FreshBooks, invoices can be automatically generated and sent for the platform, but just make sure we're following all these same principles that I've kind of outlined above. So now we want to do follow-up. So if they haven't paid and you're past the 15 or 30 day, whatever you have, gentle reminders. So be kind. Here's a good example of what you would do, and make it personal. And just, hey, just reminding you, people get busy. Just reminding you that that hasn't been paid. Thanks so much. And then if they're still not paying or they're ignoring you, then you've got to be a little more firm, but you still don't want to be rude. You want to be polite, and you're going to mention late fees. I've done that many times where I'm like, hey, I've got to start charging late fees. And everyone gets that. They understand why. I got to start charging late fees if you don't pay this. And then they just go, okay, you're right. And then hopefully they pay it. I've been in some sucky situations where it's taken a long time to get paid, but I just suck it up and hope that relationship develops and turns into something special, and they work out their systems on their end, because that's a lot of the times what's happening is they might have had someone leave, or they've had turnover and they need to hire someone new and train them, and things are just falling through the cracks. So be sensitive to the business. It shows trust. It shows your commitment to the long-term partnership. So that is the end of our billing and invoicing section. There's a lot in here. Please, like I said in the last video, if you need, or one of the videos, if you need help with all this, hit us up about partnering. We'll jump on a call, see how it can work for you. We want to do this with you. So let's see how I can jump in and actually help you implement all these processes and answer any questions personally that you may have. And maybe you have a different model or a different idea that you want to actually tell me about that would help with everything we've talked about. I want to hear about it. I'm always looking to change. I'm always looking to adjust and get better. So thank you for watching this section. I'm excited to see you in the next classroom.